Wow.
I'm actually unwell at the thought that it's 2025.
It's
I have to
so
like
insane.
when I just said it's the first countdown of 2025. I literally was like, I don't know if I need to say that ever
I
again.
don't know if that feels accurate, but it is. It's the third day of 2025, and here we are, recording for you.
It's been half a decade since lockdowns.
Oh.
Like what?
You know, I'm probably gonna get roasted for this.
Here
I
comes.
kind of miss lockdown.
No, because I do too, and Corey does as well. We're both like, we didn't mind it.
I'm at that point where I'm like, all of you need to go back in.
Yeah, like the world is not a cool place at the moment. I was fine hanging out at home.
However,
I'm a homebody though.
California might be right behind another lockdown. So
Why? Is the fucking bird flu?
yeah, it's not good. So
Dude, what is happening? What 2025 is coming in hot. It really is.
Oddities. Stay strange.
said hold my beer.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god.
Ugh.
Anywho, hi everybody. Welcome back to Oddities. I'm
I'm
Cassie.
Kelly.
And welcome back to Strange Town.
Woohoo!
Yay! Per usual, nothing's changed since last year. We have all of our information. Oh, you know what? You know what's so annoying? All right, let me finish. We have all of our information in the description. That includes social media, our email, our Patreon if you'd like to donate to our show, our merch if you'd like to purchase any of our merch, all of the artists that we've worked with. Am I missing anything?
No, I don't
I
think
think
so.
that's
I think
everything.
that's everything.
So here's what I was gonna say. Corey does this thing,
Here it is.
and he thinks it's the funniest shit. Every year, like New Year's Eve, if we're gonna go to bed early before the ball drops, or like, we're leaving the house and we're saying goodbye or whatever, he's always like, "See you next year," and he just thinks it's like the funniest fucking thing
Okay.
in the universe. And like it's the most Corey thing in the universe, and I just picture him wearing the Mike Wazowski
I was
hat.
waiting for it. Here it is.
He didn't wear it when he said it this year, but like I was like, this would be a prime time to wear the hat.
Yeah, it would be.
So
It was kind of funny because, like, the boys woke us up the next morning, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen you since last year.
LOL, you're just like
I am.
Corey.
I am just like
Oh
Corey.
my
Because we
god.
saw my parents last Saturday, and when we said goodbye to them, I was like, see you guys next year.
Oh my god. I don't know. What am I gonna do with the both of
I
you?
don't
Like
know.
I don't. I oh my god. I love that about you. That made my day. I'm gonna tell Corey that you do it too, and then he's gonna feel so justified in his actions of constantly doing that.
Yep. Love
Perfect.
you guys.
Perfect. Love it so much. So anyway, how's my
My
borscht?
brushy's good. The boys rang in the East Coast New Year and then went to
Fuck
bed.
yeah.
Had some apple cider. I made Michael
Tight.
laugh because I put them in wine glasses for the boys.
Heck yeah.
That got a really good laugh in the house. Um,
My mom used to do the tiny little like plastic like
no, I
champagne
gave
ones
them
for
full
us.
on glass wine
Like
glasses. They're from the Dollar Tree. What's gonna happen?
whatever. What's it matter? Yeah.
Um, and then Michael and we ate 12 green grapes under
Oh,
the
you did the grapes
under the
thing.
table
Okay.
because like it was kind of fun actually. So you know this, I do a lot of superstitions on New Year's Eve.
You do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was funny because I opened the doors. You let out the old, let in the new.
Yep.
And so we're under the table eating grapes, and Michael is screaming that it's cold.
Dude, 12 grapes is actually like a lot to eat.
Yeah,
When you're
and
like
I
trying
got
to
some
powerhouse this.
abnormally large
You
grapes.
got some big ass grapes. Oh
It was
no.
really rough, but we did it.
Proud of you. Proud of you. We did Nothing. Well, okay, that's not true. That's not true. We didn't wash our laundry on New Year's Day. We did wash on New Year's Eve. Um, and I did the blow cinnamon, but I fucked up and I blew it out our door instead of in our door. So later, when I realized my mistake, then I corrected it and blew it in the door. So I don't know if it all just cancels out and we're at a null and it's just going to be the same.
You're fine. Everything's fine.
It's the intent. Yeah. And no, that's it. We went to bed super early. I was still quite sick.
I know you went to bed early because normally you say Happy New Year at 9 o'clock for me. But I got it to you first, so I win.
You did, and I was asleep. I literally, I think I went to bed at like 8:30. I was like, I can't do it. I'm dying.
Sleep.
And that was it. Everybody got the New Year's wishes on New Year's Day.
It's fine.
Yep. And how has winter break been for my board?
Oh, it's been good. We've done a lot of fun stuff.
Yes.
We've gone to see the grandmas. We went to Dave & Buster's with my parents.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. It was so loud though. Oh my gosh, did it hurt. And like it brought back memories. My 21st birthday, but damn,
yes.
I have realized I cannot tolerate loud. It is like rough.
It's like so overstimulating
it's
now.
So bad.
Yeah. Oh my God, Dave & Buster's.
Yeah,
in case this friendship blossoms into something more.
Yep.
Oh my God, what a memory.
I love Dave & Buster's for one reason and one reason only, and it's this right here.
I know, our mojito drink off.
Dave & Buster's sponsor us. Anyways,
hashtag not sponsored, but we'd like to be.
We've had just a few outings here and there, and the boys got these magnetic tiles for Christmas, and that has been the highlight of their year, let me tell you. Not the stuff that they asked for from Santa. No. It has been the magnetic tiles that I got them. So yay me. And my mom actually got them a set too, and we've been building castles. So
oh, those things are sick.
Yeah,
yes,
they've been
I got
freaking
those
awesome
for some child in our family at some point, and they were great.
Yeah, no, they're freaking cool. So it's been great. So
nice. That's good. That's happy. My time off largely consisted of illness.
But it forced you to rest.
It forced me to rest. I watched a lot of shit. I watched the new season of Queer Eye. I watched... I started Dexter, because for years everybody's like, you should watch Dexter. Blah, blah, blah. And it's actually good. I actually like it, so... I watched the new season of Squid Game. That's a dark-ass show. Just finished that last night. We tried watching a show called The Discovery of Witches, and it sucked.
Oh.
It was good for like one episode, and then we were like, we hate it now. And that's, it's been a little this, little that. I did a shitload of podcast research, so I'm lined up for the next 6 weeks. We love to see it.
Love that.
I'll have our listeners know that any listener recommendations, I did write down the names, so everybody can feel good about that. I was to be able to focus enough to do that. And, we're moving, we're grooving.
We're here.
Might potentially go to an escape room this weekend that's 90s classroom themed.
God.
We were talking about this offline.
And my only hope for you is that you're able to crack your back.
Please let them have those chairs. I swear to God, if they have those chairs, I'm spending 20 of the 60 minutes that we have in there stretching my back over that chair.
Can't blame you. I recently saw a woman. She was like thrift shopping, and she saw one of those chairs. Right? And so she set up her camera because she's like, I just found the greatest thing of all time, right? And yeah, she did. Yes. And so she set up her camera to crack her back, and someone yelled, "Are you gonna crack your back?"
They knew. They fucking knew.
It's such common knowledge. It's so fantastic.
I totally didn't realize that was like a universal experience. Like I knew it was a big thing in our school, but
no,
I was
it's so universal.
Oh my God, I love it. I hope that they have. What I really hope that they have in that room is one of those big TVs, like on the VCR thing.
The AV carts.
One of those too. Yes. Thank you. Exactly.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Life was better.
Dude, that flashback to, I specifically remember Obama being his inauguration, and we were watching it in health class on those big TVs.
I won the fucking raffle to go. Like there was like a select number of us from our school that were going to
Shut
be attending,
up.
and then I had the stomach flu,
Shut up.
so I didn't get to go.
Ugh.
Yeah,
That's
I
so
know.
upsetting. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. The people who did go really enjoyed it, so that was cool.
Bummer.
You know, just a missed boat.
Ugh.
You know, it do be that way
Also,
sometimes.
at the time of recording this, I do want to say rest in peace, Jimmy Carter. Thank you for
Oh,
your
yeah.
service as president.
Dude, what a career journey. Like,
Oh,
serviceman
big
to
time.
peanut farmer to president.
Oh, and
We'd love to see
fun
it.
little fact about Jimmy Carter. Did you know that he was the first U.S. president to be born in a hospital?
No.
There you go.
Where is everybody else born?
At home? Before Jimmy
All
Carter?
of them?
He was the first
Oh.
U.S. president.
Okay, true. Not the only. Yeah, I'm like, wait, what? Okay, fair. Fair point. Interesting. Didn't somebody else die too? I feel like there was somebody else that
I
died
don't know.
as well,
That
but-
pause, though, was great.
Processing. Anyway, kids, we hope that you had a happy new year. And now welcome back to, I guess this is technically the second episode of this year.
Yes, it
because
is.
The first one came out on New Year's Day. So welcome to the second episode. We're not at our usual 13, but we're pretty dang close.
Yes, we
so
are.
Should we get the puerty squared?
I guess we should.
Okay. Mine is a little lengthy. Also guaranteed to melt minds, and it's going to be a second part to next week.
Okay. Mine is...
So I pitch that I go second and then first next week.
Okay, mine is short.
Great.
So, but I like what you said there. Second and then first.
Okay, thanks.
Because that
queen.
makes sense, especially if you have 1 and 2.
Right, if people are binging or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That completely
Okay,
makes
coolness.
sense.
We'll do that.
So mine, I found on my own. I take full credit.
Yay.
I'm talking about the Gurdon Light.
Oh.
The Gurdon Light is a mysterious floating light above the railroad tracks near Gurdon, which is in Clark County. It was first sighted in the 1930s. Many theories and stories exist to explain the light, including one which connects to the 1931 murder of William McLean, a railroad worker.
Oh.
The popular local legend drew national attention in December 1994 when NBC's Unsolved Mystery television show documented the phenomenon. Locals believe that it's the railroad worker, and it's his ghostly figure.
Oh, well, I like that.
I like it too. Gurdon is located approximately 85 miles south of Little Rock on Interstate 30, just east of Interstate Highway 67. The light appears along the stretch of railroad tracks outside the town. Some people believe that it originates from the reflection of headlights of cars off the interstate. However, the site is more than 2 miles away from the highway, and people began seeing the light several decades before the Interstate 30 was even built in the 1970s.
Oh my.
So something's not really adding up there.
Right.
Others believe that swamp gas creates the light,
Oh.
though the light appears in all kinds of weather. A somewhat popular story is that the railroad worker was working outside of the town one night and he accidentally fell into the path of a train and was killed, and so this is him.
Oh no.
Locals say that the light is the lantern that his ghosts use.
Spooky.
And it's him looking for, wait for it, his head.
Oh no. I had a feeling that was coming.
Yeah. Still others believe that pressure on the quartz crystal underneath Gurdon causes them to let off electricity to produce the light. Many trace the Gurdon Light legend to a murder that took place near the railroad tracks in December of 1931. A foreman with the Missouri Pacific Railroad was involved in an argument, and one of his employees, Lewis McBride, regarding how many days McBride was allowed to be working. During the Depression, the company did not have an option of giving McBride more than hours on the job. McBride became very angry and hit McLean on the head with a shovel and beat him to death with the railroad spike.
God.
The Gurdon Light was first sighted shortly after the murder, and many have become to believe that the light actually is that as well.
Okay.
So this local legend in the area of Gurdon became a popular place, especially around Halloween.
Of course.
The story became so well known in October of 1994, especially during the Unsolved Mysteries television show. They traveled to Gurdon area to film the recreation of the murder, and the program aired in December, and it documented the phenomenon. Now, the light also seems to... People also link it to the spook lights in Missouri. Do you remember me covering that?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it reminds me of the spook lights. There's also, I covered a couple
The
of
ball
like the
lightning.
Brown Mountain, Ball Lightning, Brown Mountain Ghost Lights. There was another Marfa Lights, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It all seems like it has somewhat of a similar connection.
Yes.
So it could be the ghosties, but it also could somewhat be linked to these, because it all is somewhat in the same area. Missouri, Arkansas, Oklahoma, it's all within the Midwest. So it really could all be somewhat of the same phenomena.
It could be.
But it is just an interesting little
It
spookala
is.
thing. I like to think, I mean, although tragic, it might be the little ghosties, but it is just very interesting, none to say the least. So
It is. Good find. How'd you find this one then?
I was doing just research on weird urban legends and phenomena in certain areas.
There you go.
And it just popped up, and I was kind of fascinated by the name, honestly. So
Yeah. Cool. Good find, bestie.
Thank you.
I love the lights, the light ones.
I really love unexplained lights. I do
Yeah.
find something very interesting about it. So
Definitely. I think the reason I like them so much is because they're it's not often I feel that we have a nice combination of both logical possible explanations and supernatural explanations.
yeah,
So like I like these light ones because they usually come pretty healthy dose of both.
it is a healthy dose of both. You're totally right.
Well, thank you. So good job, Basti. That was fun. What a fun one to start with. Per usual, we're going in a different direction. This too is chosen by yours truly. This is not a listener suggested one, though I'm sure some point along the line somebody said, "Hey, we should, probably talk about this." But um, I'm going to discuss how we live in a simulation. So here it comes. If nothing else, I think everything in our world lately supports this. So I actually kind of subscribe to this. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. Like if this is a conspiracy, like I kind of. Anyway, ever since philosopher Nick Bostrom proposed in the Philosophical Quarterly that the universe and everything in it might be a simulation, there's been like intense public speculation and debate about the nature of reality. So the claims around this have actually been afforded some credence by repetition by a lot of actually kind of notable names, like Neil deGrasse Tyson, for example. There's, of course, a hefty load of skeptics, too. A physicist, Frank Wilczek, has argued that there's too much wasted complexity in our universe for it to be simulated. Building complexity requires energy and time, so why would a conscious, intelligent designer of realities waste so many resources doing that? It is a hypothetical question, but still kind of needed. Others, such as physicist and science communicator Sabine Hassenfelder, have argued that the question is not scientific anyway, since the simulation hypothesis does not arrive at a falsifiable prediction. We can't really test or disprove it, and therefore it's not scientific and not worth seriously investigating. But to understand if we live in a simulation, we need to start by looking at the fact that we already have computers running all kinds of simulations for lower level, like intelligences or algorithms, if you will. And so for easy visualization, we can imagine that these intelligences as like a non-person character in any video game, like a non-playable that we play. But in essence, any algorithm operating on any computer machine would qualify for our thought experiment. So we don't need the intelligence to be conscious, and we don't need it to even be very complex because the evidence we're looking for is experienced by all computer programs, simple or complex, running on all machines, slow or fast. All computing hardware leaves an artifact of its existence within the world of the simulation it's running. This artifact is the processor speed. So if for a moment we imagine that we are a software program running on a computing machine, the only and inevitable artifact of the hardware supporting us within our world would be the processor speed. All other laws we would experience would be the laws of the simulation itself, or in other words, the software that we're like a part of. So if we were a sim or like a character in like, I don't know, like Grand Theft Auto or some shit, these would be the laws of the game. But anything we would do would also be constrained by the processor speed, no matter the laws of the game. So no matter how complete the simulation is, the processor speed is what ultimately intervenes in the operations of the simulation. In computer systems, of course, the intervention of this speed into the world of the algorithm being executed happens even at the most fundamental level. Even at the most basic level of simple operations like addition or subtraction, the processing speed dictates a physical reality onto the operation that is detached from the simulated reality as a whole. So really the ultimate law that it comes down to is the speed of the processor. So within like the abstract world of programmed mathematics, which I didn't even know that programmed mathematics was a thing. I have to be honest with you. Like I totally didn't even know that existed. But anyway, the processing speed of operations per second will be observed, felt, experienced, and noted as an artifact of underlying physical computing machinery. This artifact then will appear as an additional component of any operation that is unaffected by the operation in the simulated reality. So the value of this additional component of the operation would simply be defined as the time taken to perform one operation on variables up to a maximum limit. So the one thing that we kind of need to consider is that if we live in a simulation, then our universe would have some sort of similar artifact. So we can now begin to articulate some properties of this artifact that would help us in our search for such an artifact in our universe. So the artifact is as an additional component of every operation that is unaffected by the magnitude of the variables being operated upon and is irrelevant within the simulated reality until a maximum variable size is observed. The artifact itself presents itself in the simulated world as an upper limit. The artifact cannot be explained by underlying mechanistic laws of the simulated universe. It has to be accepted as an assumption or like a given within the operating laws of the simulated universe. So I kind of hold that akin to gravity, because gravity is an assumption, it is a given, it is a variable that we always have to deal with. So the effect of the artifact or the anomaly is absolute. There's no exceptions to it. So if we have some defining features of this artifact, then of course it becomes clear what the artifact manifests itself as within our universe. One of the big arguments around this would be in our reality, this artifact is the speed of light.
Mm-hmm.
So space is to our universe what numbers are to a simulated reality in a computer. Matter moving through space can simply be seen as operations happening on a variable space. If matter is moving at, let's just call it 1,000 miles per second, then 1,000 miles worth of space is being transformed by a function or operated upon every second. But if there were some hardware running the simulation called space, of which matter, energy, you, me, this podcast, everything's a part of it, then one telltale sign of the artifact of the hardware within the simulated reality, space, would be a maximum limit on the container size for space on which one operation can be performed. Such a limit in our universe would be maximum speed. So this maximum speed is the speed of light, is what they argue. And they're like, okay, so this is the thing that demonstrates that we have one universal constant that hits those like 4 criteria that I hit on about an artifact demonstrating that we live in a simulation. So we don't know what hardware is running the simulation of our universe or what properties that hardware has. But one thing we can say now is that the memory container size, if you will, for the variable space would be about 300,000 kilometers if the processor performed 1 operation per second, aka the speed of light, which helps us arrive at an interesting point about the nature of space in our universe. If we're in a simulation, as it appears, then space is an abstract property written in code. It's not real. And it's analogous to the numbers 7,000,001, for example, just different abstract representations of the same size memory block that is associated with like our simulation software. So up, down, forward, backward, 10 miles, a million miles, all of them are just symbolic. The speed of anything moving through space and therefore changing space or performing some sort of action on space represents the extent of the impact of any operation on space. So this causal impact cannot extend beyond 300,000 kilometers, given the universe computer, if you will, performs 1 operation per second, aka the speed of light. So the speed of light meets all the criteria of a hardware artifact identified in our observation of our own computer builds. It remains the same irrespective of observer or simulated speed. It is observed as a maximum limit. It is unexplainable by physics of the universe, and it is absolute. So therefore, the speed of light is a hardware artifact showing that we live in a simulated universe.
My brain hurts.
I know, that was so heavy, right? So that's not the only indication that some people say that we live in a simulation. The most pertinent indication supposedly has been hiding right in front of our eyes or like behind them. So we need to go back to kind of the empirical study of simulations we know of. So imagine you're a character in a game, like a sim, or like somebody in, I don't know, like the Harry Potter game, whatever the hell. The algorithm that represents the character and the algorithm that represents the game environment in which the character operates are intertwined at many levels. But even if we assume that the character and the environment are separate, the character does not need a visual projection of its point of view in order to interact with the environment. So the algorithms will take into account some of the environmental variables and some of the character's state variables to project and determine the behavior of both the environment and the character. So the visual representation or projection of what we see on the screen is for our benefit. It's a subjective projection of some of the variables within the program so that we can experience the sensation of being in the game. The audio-visual projection of the game is an integrated subjective interface for the benefit of us, essentially someone controlling the simulation. The integrated subjective interface has no other reason to exist other than to serve us as the player or the controller. And a similar thought experiment can be run with movies. So movies often go into the point of view of characters and try to show us things from their perspective. Whether or not a particular movie scene does that or not, what's projected on the screen and the speakers, aka the integrated experience of the film, has no purpose for the characters in the film. It's only for us. So, pretty much since the dawn of philosophy, we've been asking the question of like, why do we need our consciousness? Like, what is the point? What purpose does it serve? And so the purpose is easy to extrapolate once we concede to the simulation hypothesis. So consciousness is the integrated experience. You're combining five senses to interface between the self and the rest of the universe. The only reasonable explanation for its existence is that there has to be an experience, and its primary reason for existing at all. So parts of it may or may not provide any kind of evolutionary advantage or other utility, but the sum total of it exists as an experience and hence must have some sort of primary function of being an experience. And so an experience by itself as a whole is too energy expensive and information restrictive to have evolved as an evolutionary advantage. The simplest explanation for an existence of an experience is that it exists for the purpose of being an experience. Yeah. It's just to help make something more tangible, if you will, that might otherwise be intangible. So there's nothing in philosophy or science, theories, laws, like whatever, that would predict consciousness. So like natural laws don't call for its existence. It doesn't seem to offer us any kind of real evolutionary advantage. There can only be two explanations, therefore. One is that there are evolutionary forces at work that we don't know or we haven't theorized yet. Two, the experience is a function we serve, a product that we create, an experience we generate for some larger controller being, if you will, in charge of this simulation. But one thing's for sure, we do create it. We know that consciousness and experience and all that, it exists. And that's the only thing we can be certain about. So here we are generating this thing called consciousness that we don't have a use for, really. And so the only logical next step is to surmise that the product serves someone else. So a criticism that's raised about this line of thinking is that unlike the characters in a video game, we actually experience the qualia ourselves. That is, if the product is for someone else, then why do we feel it? Like, why do we experience these things? Some would say that the fact is that the characters in a video game also experience some sort of qualia of their existence. It's just that their experience is very different from what we experience as players of the game. But between the empty character and the person controlling the character, there's this gray area where parts of the player and parts of the character combine to form some sort of consciousness, aka I want the character to move, the character moves. I want the character to open the book, the character opens the book. We're both experiencing it, albeit in different manners.
Yeah.
Okay, so the players will feel some of the disappointment and joys that are designed for the character to feel. The character experiences the consequences of the player's behavior. It's a rudimentary connection between player and character, but already within this virtual reality, we're seeing boundaries blur. Like, for example, if you put on a VR set and you're riding a roller coaster as a character, you feel the gravitational effects, even though you're not actually moving. So where is that gravitational effect, for example, coming from? It exists somewhere in the space between the character that's riding the roller coaster and our minds, occupying the, quote, mind of the character. It can basically be imagined that in the future, this in-between space would be wider. It is certainly possible that as we experience the world and generate these feelings called qualia, we're experiencing some teeny tiny part of that qualia ourselves, while maybe a more information-rich version of the qualia is being projected to some other mind, for whose benefit the experience of consciousness first came to existence. And so there you have it. we live in a simulation. The simplest explanation for existence of consciousness is that it's an experience being created by our bodies, but not for our bodies. We are generating qualia, some tangible experiential thing. We are machines creating this. And so like the characters in a video game, we exist to create integrated audiovisual outputs. And so also, as with characters in a video game, our product is mostly likely for the benefit of someone else experiencing our lives through our actions.
Dude, what a trip.
I know. And so that's part one of us living in a simulation. Basically, it all comes down to computers. And saying, okay, yes, we are living in a computer simulation because A, the speed of light exists, and B, there's no reason for us to have a consciousness, yet here we are, so it must be for someone else. That's essentially the backbone of the argument. Does it hurt? Because it hurt me.
It really hurts, actually.
Are you following? Did I explain all of that okay?
I need an adult.
We are the adults. Isn't that scary?
That was a lot. I did follow. My brain just hurts.
Mm-hmm. I know. And I feel like that's also like part of the argument in favor of this is like, if you think about it hard enough, how much it fucking hurts because we're not supposed to figure it out. That's my argument behind it.
100%.
Right? Like
you're not
something
wrong
is telling us
at all. We're not supposed to know this.
Yeah, like something in our body is like, you don't know this right now, and that's why it hurts. You're in danger.
You don't know any of this. Stop it.
Yeah. Like, it's like the same type of thing where people are like, you're not supposed to tell someone in your dream that you know you're dreaming or something like that. Have you seen a lot of this shit?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like it's the same type of like thing. I feel I subscribe to the belief that we are not actually fully in control of literally any of this.
It's
And you
that
have to admit a
feeling.
lot of what's going on in the world is so fucking ridiculous that you're like, somebody decided to play the game on hard mode.
Yeah. It's the feeling that, like, one, yeah, if somebody in your dream tells you you're dreaming, run. You know what I mean? It's that feeling of, like, deja vu. It's that feeling of if you see the sign that says if you're experiencing deja vu, seek help.
Yes.
It's like
Yes.
all of that.
Exactly. And like the thing that I can't help but like think is very rarely in life do I feel fully in control. And like the like principle of life is you have to relinquish control. You can't always control everything. And I'll tell you why. It's because we're not actually in
We have
control.
no
Somebody
control.
higher than
Yeah.
us is in control of this shit, you know? Like I'm not going to say it's a god. I'm not going to say it's whatever. I have no idea what it is. But I do believe that there's a lot of weird shit that goes on in the world and a lot of weird like stories that people share, which is what I'm going to cover in part 2 next week.
Yeah.
Where it's like, something's not quite right, or like,
Yeah.
maybe the software hasn't loaded correctly, or what have you. But when you sit and you think about it in principle, it's like, I get the whole analogy on a video game. It's like, yeah, that character is not real, but for some reason what I'm doing to this character is integrated enough that it's an experience for me too. So why wouldn't that be the case for somebody controlling me?
100%. Yeah.
Right. So anyway, that's the mind melt for today. Happy New Year, everybody.
Well, I'll be contemplating a lot of stuff for the rest of today. So
nobody go home and think too hard. Nobody do anything. Nobody do anything too difficult. Just like, it's fine.
Just go rot. It's okay.
Remember, kids, we're not actually in control, and that's the moral of the story.
Just accept it and move on.
Just accept it. Somebody's playing your shit, and they're fucking your shit up on purpose, and that's that.
And I'm sorry, where did this come from?
Like the whole theory?
Or who suggested this?
So the guy that like originally suggested it, I guess, it's this philosopher. His name's Nick Bostrom. He proposed it in...
Screw Nick Bostrom.
I know, Philosophical Quarterly. Essentially, he says the universe and everything in it is a simulation. And then there are people who have shown up in favor of it. And then there are people, of course, who have shown up against it. And it's like, well, we can sit here and we can think about it. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what we do because we're not actually in control at the end.
Yeah, no, we're tired.
We're tired. So anyway, kids, hopefully that was a semi-decent explanation of this. I'm going to go rest my brain now.
Yeah, me too.
I'll see you next week with part 2 of stories.
Looking forward to it.
Living in a simulation. That's a little less crazy. I mean, it's like crazy, but in a different way, I guess I should say.
Hold on to your seats.
Hold on to your seats, kids. And until next time,
stay strange.